EIA.
We are live.
Problem. This,
Great. So the time is 7:05 p.m. on Monday, May 8th, 2023. I'd like to call this council compensation ad hoc committee meeting to order. Nominations are open for chair of the council compensation ad hoc committee for a 2-year term, 2023 to 2024. Are there any nominations?
okay. Anybody?
Vice Chair.
You can nominate yourself as well. I just want to make that clear.
I'd like to nominate Greg Smith then for chair.
Okay, so Stephen would like to nominate.
I'll nominate Stephen Forsey for vice chair.
Oh,
Or do
we're
I-
starting with just the chair, right?
Just chair only,
Yeah.
okay?
Okay. So are there any other nominations for chair? Any other nominations? Okay, nominations are now closed. May I please have a mover and seconder for the motion to nominate Stephen Forsey as chair?
Vice Chair.
Oh, sorry, vice chair.
Greg, I'm nominating Greg Smith as chair.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
Greg as chair.
and
My
I will
apologies.
make that motion.
Okay. Okay, and any seconder for that? Chris? Okay, so that Greg Smith be elected as chair for a 2-year term for the council compensation ad hoc committee. Are there any questions or comments? Okay, I'll call the vote. All in favor? Opposed? That carries. Okay, so now I'm going to pass the chair to the new chair and ask them to begin at item 1.2, which is the election of the vice chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, everybody. Welcome. Okay, so we're going to move on to the nomination for vice chair of Council Compensation Ad Hoc Committee for a 2-year term, 2023 to 2024. Are there any nominations?
I would volunteer for, I'll nominate myself.
Can I nominate the?
Yeah, so you can nominate.
I can nominate, okay. I'll nominate Stephen Forsey.
And Stephen can nominate himself, so that's.
Oh, he can?
Okay,
Okay,
yes, so
perfect.
that's okay.
Excellent. Thanks.
So Stephen nominated himself as vice chair. And now we just need a formal motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would somebody move that motion? Chris, seconder? Anita, okay. Any comments, questions? Seeing none? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Congratulations.
Great. Great, thanks. Thanks, Steve. Okay. Out of all, okay. My strength right here. I'd like to do a land acknowledgement. The town of Aurora acknowledges the Anishinaabe lands on which we live and work for the traditional and treaty territory of the Chippewas of Georgina Island, as well as many other nations whose presence here continues to this day. As the closest First Nation community to Aurora, we recognize the special relationship the Chippewas have with the lands and the waters of this territory. They are water protectors and environmental stewards of these lands, and as a municipality, we join them in these responsibilities. We further acknowledge that Aurora is part of the treaty lands of the Mississaugas and Chippewas, recognized through Treaty Number 13, as well as the Williams Treaties of 1923. A shared understanding how the rich cultural heritage that has existed for centuries and how our collective past brought us to where we are today. Will help us walk together into a better future. Okay, let's move on. The approval of the agenda. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please?
I'll move.
Agenda, okay. Somebody second. Anita, any comments and questions? Okay. Call the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Let's move on to number 4. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, let's move on to receipt of the minutes. We have no minutes to be received this evening. We'll go on to, we don't have to do anything on that. We'll move on to number 6. We have delegations. We have no delegations. So now we can move on to number 7, which is 7.1, memorandum for manager, human resources, RE compensation review approach. We have a mover and seconder to put the item on the floor. Chris, I'll go with Anita. That's great. Dimitri.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good evening, everyone. Just by way of introduction, I'm the staff liaison for the committee. I'm the head of human resources, and I've been with the town since 2020. And the purpose of the memorandum is to sort of give you a little bit of background in terms of the last time that a compensation was done for the mayor and council, which was conducted in 2017. It was part of a governance and compensation review. And there was a certain recommendations made at that point and some decisions made. And this committee was recommended by council and directed by council to take a look again at compensation. It's now 5-6 years since that time, and make recommendations back to council for consideration on a go-forward basis. So I'm not sure what the experience of the members is with respect to these types of committees in the past. I know everybody brings a diverse sort of background. I can ask any questions the committee members may have today, but I think for the next meeting, we can prepare a package of material to share with you what we've done in the past, the process we've used, validate the information that we've used and get some input, and then decide sort of on conducting the research that we need to do.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair. May I ask a question?
Absolutely. I was just going to say, any comments, questions?
Thank you. Is just for point of clarification, is the recommendation that this committee is going to make, is it to town staff or is it directly to council?
Through the chair, it's directly to council.
Any
I was, and you can, if I'm jumping the gun, please, my brain's already ahead. I'm assuming you'll give us some kind of like, to me, it's kind of like, where do we, if we're going to do something like this, I'm assuming there's comps available, there's municipalities we can look at. Would all that come naturally from you, or should we be asked kind of what we're looking for, what we think would help?
Thank you, Anita. Through the chair, yes, typically the information that's gathered in these processes is from other municipalities of similar size. So you usually select between 8 to 15 municipalities that are in similar geographic locations, similar size, similar issues, lower tier. And then you compare that information to see how we rank and make sure that we're comparable in terms of the compensation. And we look at wages, vehicle allowance, and benefits.
I think within York, there's some big disparity between, someone like the Aurora municipality and a Vaughan. And I know some areas are full-time, it's part-time, so that would all be, assuming that would all be.
Through the chair, yes,
Okay.
good question, Anita. The decision on whether this council is full-time, part-time was made at the 2017 review, and the position of the mayor was considered full-time, and the rest of the councillors were considered part-time at that time. Vaughan's council is larger, and they're all full-time considered.
Yeah, I just meant if we were going to do comparisons, it would be something with a similar setup to ours, not something, okay.
Any other questions?
This
Yep.
committee, sorry, this committee goes on for the next 2 years.
Through the chair, yes, it's for this term of council.
Yeah, so this is a 2-year term, but then there's going to be a subsequent 2-year term as well. So it's going to be technically
Our commitments will be for the next 2 years at this time.
so it's a 2-year term, but then subsequently, there's going to be another process, like a re-election, I believe, of the chair and vice chair, and then that will continue.
In 2 years from today.
We don't assume it's gonna take us 2 years to make a recommendation, right?
No.
This is ad hoc.
Right,
Yeah,
so I
this
think,
is
I
ad hoc.
just wanna make, to your point,
Yeah.
like, I think a traditional committee, absolutely 2 and 2 makes perfect sense. For
Yeah.
something like this, I can't be here 4 years from now, it's gonna be okay.
That's
That's correct.
that's correct. Through the
Just wanted to
chair,
clarify.
Yeah.
we've allocated some time over the next few months with the understanding that we hope to be able to conclude the work of this committee by the fall. If it takes a bit longer, it takes a bit longer, but we hope within this year, we should be able to complete and provide recommendations. Now, if council directs us to come back and review some additional information,
Right.
we may have to do that.
Okay, any other questions?
For you, Mr. Chair. Is there a project kind of a completion date or plan in terms of the key milestones that we should achieve at a certain point?
Yeah, I included in the memorandum just a very high level in terms of this committee understanding what the scope is, what we're looking at, and I think it's important for us to provide you the context of previous reviews, so you can see what's been done in the past, and just validate sort of the comparators, the groups that are going to be, the avenues spells we're going to be looking at, and then give us the direction, the input to proceed with the research. That's going to take a few weeks to complete. Some of the information is here, but we should be able to complete it fairly quickly. And then we can reconvene probably like the early fall to go through all the details and at that point make some recommendations to council.
I'm
Yeah.
through you, Mr. Chair. If we're working on this now, would it be correct to assume that this would kick into the next budget year if there was a change that's made? Is that right?
Through the chair, that's at the discretion of council in terms of whether it's enacted immediately or versus the next term of council.
Sorry.
But this committee has the opportunity to make a recommendation to council.
Anybody else? I have one question. Typically, when I've been involved with committees before, they are not able to direct staff in terms of things. But in this particular case, there might be, like you say, things that we may need from a research perspective. So we're able to do that as a committee?
So, through you, Chair. What would happen in this case is the committee can make give advice and provide comments
Right.
to staff, staff will capture those comments in the blanket motion. And that those comments that will be captured will then go to council in a report.
We're talking a final report?
Yeah, so this report would go to council
Right.
by staff. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, the final
Yeah.
report will go to council, but I believe the minutes from each of these meetings will be
That's
shared
correct.
with council as well.
Yes, so the minutes will also capture the discussions at the meeting, but staff is also there to capture any comments as well, discussion.
So my example would be comparables come back, a few other things, and we go, yeah, we like, but maybe we'd like something else. Are we able to request of staff
Absolutely.
for those. That's,
Through the chair, yeah,
that's what I'm
absolutely.
talking, because normally we can't really
Yeah.
ask staff
Yeah,
for,
like you can't make a formal direction.
Okay.
Like, direction would have to come from council and the chief administrative officer, but it would be captured in a blanket motion.
excellent. Okay. That's great. All right. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, call the vote to receive the memorandum regarding compensation review approach. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Informational items, I see none. Number 9, new business. I don't know whether anybody has anything.
Is there anything for the committee in terms of, I mean, the terms of reference have been shared with committee members? As far as I know.
Yes,
the Terms.
Yeah. as well as a committee handbook, which has,
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay. Yes,
Mr. Chair, is it appropriate to ask, I don't know the other people in the committee. Is it appropriate to ask what your backgrounds are so that we can, collaborate and work together? Is that appropriate?
absolutely. I think that's a wonderful idea. Let's start with Chris.
Sure. So Chris Bolsonelli, good to meet everyone. I come from a background of HR. So I do have an undergrad and a graduate degree in industrial relations and HR from U of T, and also have practiced in human resources for my entire career. I'm currently in HR strategy at a large utility, and I do a lot of the board kind of materials related to that. So I do have a lot of this kind of exposure, and I've seen a lot of the compensation related material.
Excellent.
My name is Mariam. I've been a resident for 18 years. So background is in design and architecture, and I've been on a heritage committee once. Done a lot of restoration of properties in this town. In this committee, I have no experience whatsoever, but I was referred to by John Gallo. He asked me to, if I had any interest, and I do have interest. It would be my first time, so I'm just gonna be learning more than anything. But I look forward to working with yourselves, and I was gonna ask the same thing. I need an introduction on everyone.
Absolutely.
My background again is in construction, design, development, architecture all the time.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Anita.
I'm Anita Boyle Evans, VP Client Services at a research marketing company. So we are a not-for-profit tripartite organization. We are owned by our clients, so we are fundamentally covered by governments on a regular basis. So I understand the whole process and committees and all that. The good, the bad, and the ugly. I've managed that for many years, so I understand the whole compensation, comparables, what goes into it. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. And we said I lived in Aurora for 20-something years. And this is the first time officially 7.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Resident.
Yes.
My name is Steve Forsey. I've lived in Aurora with my wife for 31 years now, I guess. I've been active in a number of things in town. I'm past president of the Chamber of Commerce. I run one of the larger men's hockey leagues in town as well, and volunteer through Sport Aurora, as well as a few other things. I run my own investment management practice in town, and so I've had some experience with some HR as well. Although it sounds like I got a couple of specialists sitting across the table from me here. I wanted to join this committee because I think I had some town experience and some other things that I could add that would be helpful. Nice to meet you all.
It's great. It's great. My name is Greg Smith. I own a promotional marketing company in town. For 38 years, I've lived in Aurora about, I don't know, 33 something, 30, I don't even remember exactly how many years now. Currently am the vice chair of the library board and the vice chair of the BIA. What else do I do? President of a not-for-profit called Music Aurora. We help youth and music around town. We present the Aurora Winter Blues Festival every year. And so that's all on a voluntary basis. And this is the first time I've been involved in this particular committee. I've been on Parks and Rec before, and I have been on the library board previously. And as I shared earlier, I ran for council this past term in the new Heart and Soul of Aurora, Ward 6. So, thank you. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
So, sure. I'm Palak Mehta. I'm the council and committee coordinator. I just joined with the municipality in January. So I'm fairly new and I'm glad to be here.
Excellent. Excellent.
And I'm Dimitri Rigakos, Manager of Human Resources. I've been with the town since 2020. I've been in the public sector for about 32 years. It's a long time. Formerly with the city of Vaughan, and prior to that with the Workplace Safety and Insurance Board. I live in New York region. I live in Vaughan, but love Aurora. I've been here for 3 years and it's a beautiful community. So blessed to be here.
Terrific. Good. Thank you, everybody. That's wonderful. So if I don't see any more new business, let's close that. Let's go to number 10. May I have a motion to adjourn? Stephen? Yes. Seconder, Anita? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much. Should